Hi, this is the Unteachables, Chapter 25, Kiana Rubini. The first time the Unteachables go to Sonic is the day of the state science assessment. We don't know if we'll be able to celebrate how we did, but we can definitely celebrate the fact that it's over and we survived. Plus, Parker has his family's pickup, so we can use the drive-thru. Of course, he's not allowed to have passengers except his grandmother, so we have to walk and meet him there. But we can drink our slushes and sodas in the flatbed, lounging among the bushel baskets of potatoes and onions. It's pretty fun, so we go back a couple of days later when the weather's still nice. It's a long walk home, though, so it's pretty late in the afternoon when I come stumbling through the door, hyped up on sugar, to find Stepmonster in the front hall waiting for me. I'm instantly on my guard. I've been in Greenwich more than a month, and she's never once waited for me. She's always too busy chasing after Chauncey, trying to help him from spontaneously combusting or flushing himself down the toilet or whatever. What? I ask her. Your school called, she tells me grimly, or maybe I should say a school called, since you don't really go there. My first instinct is to try to bluff through it. Of course it's my school. Where do you think I hang out every day? Save it, Kiana. It's all out in the open now. That science exam you've been working so hard on, they graded your test, but couldn't find a student to match it to. They called us because we're the only Rubinis in Greenwich. You're busted. The science test? I should have known. Just because Mr. Kermit never checks his class list doesn't mean nobody else checks theirs. I kick off my sneakers and stomp into the living room. Wouldn't you know it, Chauncey is fast asleep in his playpen. The one time I need him awake and alert and ripping the curtains down, he fails me. It's not my fault, I complain. You left me alone on the first day of school, so I found a class and stayed there. Believe it or not, Stepmonster actually looks a little bit ashamed. I'm sorry, I should have been a little more on top of things. But your education isn't a game, and a school is more than a drop-in center where you can come and go as you please. Why in a million years would you think you could get away with this? Because nobody cares about me, I explode. If you did, you wouldn't have flaked off before making sure I got registered. And anyway, what difference does it make? My real school is in LA. Nobody's going to sweat what happened during the few weeks I was here. This isn't my home. It's just a place to park me until Mom gets done in Utah. For a split second, Stepmonster looks as if she's about to cry. But she doesn't. I'll always appreciate her for that, because I definitely would have cried too. Dad and I know you live with your mom, she says at last, but this is your home too, and we're your family. I peer over at her. She really thinks that? News to me. I mean, she's always nice when she isn't too distracted by her kid, who admittedly is a full-size job. But family? So what happens now, I ask in a small voice. I do what I should have done on day one, she decides. I'm going to the school to get you properly registered. No, I howl. They'll put me in regular classes. They won't let me stay in SCS 8. Why not? Because I blurt out the only thing I can think of. Because I'm not dumb enough. She's blown away. Dumb enough? I spill my guts. The Unteachables and Mr. Kermit, and how we started out a bad class, but we're turning into an amazing one, and a pretty good friends besides. Stepmonster listens to my sob story, and the longer I go on, the more stunned she seems. By the time I get to the end of it, Chauncey is awake, but instead of fussing, he's watching me through the mesh of the playpen, listening intently. Like he can't wait to hear how it all turns out. Stepmonster looks at me straight in the eye. If that's the class you want, that's the class you're going to be in, unteachable or not. I jump up and wrap my arms around her. I don't know if she expected it, but I definitely didn't. It's a weird moment, but not totally in a bad way. Chauncey isn't a big fan of that. He screams his head off. I pull back. You better go get him. In his mind, hugging privileges are his and his alone. She laughs. You're probably right. And by the way, I don't think you're very unteachable. That science test, the school says you aced it.